What is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another Optc video, and in today's video we're taking the new Sugofest exclusive V2 Enel, the Psy Enel, into all of the 10-star Garp challenges. And before we start this video, I do want to do this. I'm actually a big fan of this Enel. Psy is like my favorite color in the game, and I have the most fun building teams around Psy teams. So with the release of Enel, I actually really enjoyed using him in regular content. Now, his big draw is PvP, and understandably so. He just absolutely destroys the slasher meta, and as the Kami god, he actually works really well in regular play as well. The big downside that I do find to this unit is he is a color affinity based captain. Now, I'm not a huge fan of color affinity based captains in their special. I'm talking about mainly because it's very restrictive, but the beautiful thing about Enel is he's a mono Psy leader, so that color affinity is actually more useful because you're normally using this guy to actually take down int content. But with Psy, they do have a little cheat code that is the Germa 66 legend that came out for our 6-year anniversary. And with that, it actually makes this guy a lot better. Plus, he is just a phenomenal captain when it comes to his matching orb effect, as well as his 5 times base attack when you do have a matching orb. So let's take a quick look at what this unit actually does. So as mentioned, his special reduces all enemies' HP by 15%, boosts the chance of landing on character's own type slot for 99 turns, reduces cruise paralysis and bind by 5 turns, which is a little bit weird. It's a weird combo. It doesn't pop up all that much together. But then he'll also boost the type effects of Psy characters by 2.25, which is the highest in the game at the moment, and deals 50% damage dealt by normal attacks by the character in this turn in normal type damage to all enemies at the end of the turn. Now, that doesn't sound too drastic, but it's very good at getting around things like resilience, and it's going to be really good for content like the Garp challenges that don't have normal attacks only with the little asterisks over the WhiteBeard challenge. Mainly for when you're versing those mob enemies and you're just shy of the damage, but then Enel's end of turn damage comes in and cleans up the rest for you. As a captain, he boosts Psy characters' attack by 5 times when you have matching slots, 4.25 otherwise, and HP by 1.3. But then he also makes int, recovery, and TND orbs matching, and then will launch his special at the start of the quest. So all of these benefits, where you get the end of turn damage, where you get the 99 turns of landing on your matching slots, makes this guy so damn good, as even when you draw unfavorable slots, you still have them as matching, because int is matching, and with the recovery and TND being matching for Psy units, it just makes it absolutely phenomenal when you come up against content where they actually rotate your orbs into that. So this guy is really good. I really enjoy using him in regular play. He has a very good support, 1.5 times color affinity for Psy characters at the start of the final battle, so you don't have to use a special or anything like that, and he goes on all Psy driven characters. So when you are looking at building teams with like Germa on there, for example, and with Germa 6+ on Japan, this guy is going to be really good. So that's enough about the character. I basically said all I want to say about him. I do have 3 runs to you guys: WhiteBeard, Enel, and the Navy, obviously, with different teams. I sort of wanted to make the teams a little bit more optimal and show some more variety that Enel has. But I did find that Ambush Lin and the Germa 66 are just phenomenal subs with this guy, and building sort of bad guy teams or like anti-hero teams is usually the best way to go, as there's a lot of driven support with like V1 Dofi and Raid Shiki and stuff like that, and you can do some really cool shenanigans with that. But once again, I'm done talking about the character. Let's hop into the runs. Alright, so for Garp's challenge WhiteBeard, traditionally this is where we start. This is the team, these are the supports. Now let's dive in. So Enel's a really good unit for these Garp's challenges, mainly because there aren't any normal attacks only, with the exception of the WhiteBeard challenge for a couple of stages. But the beautiful thing about Enel is he does that 50 times his attack from his normal attack as end of turn damage. So it can actually work really well when it comes to these Garp challenges, as it means it can just do that little bit of extra damage if you are struggling to kill mob enemies. And you'll see that when we get to the Navy one, but it works really well. So on the team that we are using against WhiteBeard, the main key unit here is actually Nami. Now, this treasure map Christmas Nami is an absolute god for this particular event, as she can actually remove attack down and is on like a 9-turn cooldown with her limit break key. So she works really well. The rest of the team is built up around driven units, and you probably saw in the intro or the start of this particular clip, we actually have a couple of supports that actually benefit driven, very similar to characters like V1 Dofi support and the Raid Shiki support. So on stage 2, we're just going to remove the attack down with the Nami special and then take him out, as we do have color affinity. You can use an Enel special here if you want to, but it's not really necessary. On the next stage against Higuma, Atmos, and the Chain Ball guy, they're going to give us 3 turns of Special Bind. Now, this Special Bind is a little bit annoying, but it's nothing that you have to worry about too much. Ideally, you want to take out Higuma because we do have Color Affinity, and then we can take out Atmos as well. If you don't take out Atmos, he's going to bind your recovery, so you want to try and take him out as quickly as possible, as well as then taking out the Chain Ball guy on the second turn, as he does blow away a couple units. But as you can see, with Enel getting so many matching orbs with his captain ability, he can just output so much damage being a flat 5-rate captain, provided you do have that matching orb. On the next turn, we come up against Isu, Speed Jiru, and Fossa. Fossa's always going to be on a random cooldown between 2 and 4, but Speed Giru is always going to be on 1, and Isu is always going to be on 2. So ideally, you want to make sure that you actually take out Speed Giru first, and then depending on your cooldowns is what you want to do next. So because I got lucky and Fossa wasn't on a 2-turn cooldown, we are going to actually focus on Iso, but you really don't want to get hit by Fossa because Fossa hits so damn hard that you probably will die, but you can use Iso to actually stall a few turns if you need to. If you aren't using Nami, using another attack down remover, but Nami's just an absolute god for this particular piece of content. On to the next stage, we come up against Jozu. Now, Jozu has 3 turns of defense up and 3 turns of damage reduction, so we're going to use good old Queenie Boy here to remove that. Queen's also going to give us a 3 times chain lock, and then we can actually use the Big Mom special with the support of Dofi to give our Driven and Powerhouse units, which this whole team is besides Nami, a 2.25 times attack boost, provided we hit 12 chains, and then as well as an orb boost, as recovery orbs are actually matching for Enel. The Ambush Lin is just a phenomenal sub for Enel, but I'm sidetracking. On to the next stage against Vista and Marco. They're going to paralyze us, attack down, and chain lock us for 3 turns. So this is where Nami is just an absolute god, because she can remove all 3 of those, and she rotates unfavorable orbs. Now, if you got lucky like I did, you can actually use the what's her name? The Flampe support on Nami, so when she rotates those unfavorable orbs, you can actually get an orb boost as well. We didn't actually have it pop the first time because we still had all those matching orbs from the very first turn, which is really, really nice, and Enel's ability to give matching orbs is great. The beautiful thing about Enel is too, you don't have unfavorable orbs, as in orbs are matching for the whole team as well, which is really great. On the final stage, we come up against WhiteBeard and Ace. Now, we do have those normal attacks only, so we can't really use the end of turn damage from Enel, but it doesn't matter too much because we are just going to use the support of Shiki to get an attack boost. We have the special of Judge for a 2.25 times orb boost to our entire team. They're also going to become captain, which is super effective against all types, as well as their super typing being a chain multiplier mechanic. So Germa, I did say in my forest run with Enel, Germa is just Enel's best friend in my opinion. Without Germa, Enel just does not look nearly as good, like not even close. With the Enel special giving us 2.25 times color affinity to our Psy units, it means that Germa just hits ridiculously hard, and as you can see, they easily wipe out WhiteBeard. So that was the Garp challenge against WhiteBeard. Let's move on to Enel versus Enel now. Alright, so moving on to the next Garp challenge now, we're coming up against Eneru. So this is the team, these are the supports, let's dive in. Now, I wanted to really change it up a little bit, and I didn't want to bring Nami Sanji for this particular team. So we do have Rebecca, the Summertime Rebecca. She does need to be Limit Break keyed for this team to actually work. And you need to have her around Fear Resistance level 3. The beautiful thing about bringing Germa as well is because Reiju is part of the Germa 66, you can actually use the pudding support, so you can get around the stun very traditionally to how you would bring a Sanji on the team, and that way you can cop the damage at the end, remove the stun, and then remove the special bind with the Rebecca special, get color affinity that way too, and it just works really, really well. Otherwise, you can bring Nami and Sanji, that is another way to get around it, but that's cheating, so mix it up a little, you know? Nah, do what you like. My grandpa always said, do what you want. But on stage 2 of the Enel fight, we are going to get binded. So this is where, and special binded, 3 of our random units. So this is where the support of the Sweet 3 on Lin is really, really good, because we can remove 2 turns of special bind. And then with the special of Enel, we can actually remove the bind on our crew. Enel does have a little bit of utility, but it is a little bit of a weird utility. Paralysis and bind, the combination doesn't pop up too much, but it is nice when you actually can use it. On the next turn, we come up against Tweedledee and Tweedledum. It's Totoro, something like that. But they are an int unit, which is really, really good for our team, because we are running Mono Psy. They have a 3 great barrier for 2 turns, and they give us 2 turns of burn, which is a little bit annoying to deal with. But because we do have color affinity, and they do have a great barrier, we can actually do quite a bit of damage just by hitting greats and perfects. We can cop the burn damage, and then with that end of turn damage that I mentioned at the beginning of the WhiteBeard fight and the intro, it just works really, really well to take them out without actually taking that shot. We do take the burn damage, but it's about the same as what we would take from normal attack anyway. On the next turn, we come up against Wiper and 2 of his Skypiea friends. They are going to have 4 turns of attack up, and Wiper is always on a 2-turn cooldown. We are going to use the Germa special here because we can actually get that back later on in the fight. And that way we just have enough damage output to give us a full board of T&D orbs. We get the 5 times captain with them. And that way we can easily just sort of destroy this stage where we can. Now, I don't know what was happening there. I don't know if I missed a perfect on purpose or if I did it accidentally. But ideally, you want to take 2 turns here on Wiper. I mean, they give you 2 turns, so like you may as well use it, right? Plus with Germa being captain for 2 turns, it just works out quite nicely. On the next turn, we come up against 2 more Skypiea enemies. I cannot remember these guys' names. But the dude on the ball, he's going to give us the lock mechanic, so you can only attack him. And he has 4 turns of threshold. That threshold isn't very high, but it is still very, very annoying to get around. As if we don't get around it on the first turn, he's going to give us attack down for 4 turns. But the beautiful thing about running Garp is he has a 2-stage special. And no matter what, he is always going to be on a 3.25 chain lock, so we can actually use his special here to get a chain lock, take out the guy on the ball, and then do a bit of damage to the other int unit. Now, if you can, you could probably take him out with some matching orbs, but if you don't and you do it the way I did it, it'll work absolutely fine as well. On the next turn, we come up against Gidatsu and Om. They're going to bind our bottom row for 4 turns, which go down to 1 respective to your sockets. Ideally, if you have max sockets, it goes down to 1. They also bind your recovery, and they have end of turn damage. But again, with Enel's special, very rare that we are using Enel's special for the utility aspect, but he can actually remove the bind on our bottom row. And with that, we just have our full arsenal to actually do as much damage as we possibly can. And again, I missed it perfect. I don't know what I was doing with this run, but I mean, it is what it is. Once again, we will see the end of turn damage from Enel, so I guess it's a nice showing of that, I guess. But once we've taken out Om, we can focus on Gidatsu. You probably could actually take him out in 1 turn, but you don't really want to let him take a knee. If you let him take a knee, I think he like blows away your units or something like that. But if you don't kill him on the first turn like myself, he is just going to bind 3 random enemies. Oh, sorry, 3 random units, which will go down to 1 with sockets. So don't worry about it too much. He goes down to a 2-turn cooldown, and then we can focus on taking him out on that next turn. Goodbye. So moving on to the final stage against Enel now. Enel versus Enel. I find that really funny. He's going to turn into the opposite color to our captain, so he's going to become an int unit, which is really, really good for our team. He's going to blow away all our positive effects, and then he's going to stun our captains, special bind our entire crew, and give us the fear mechanic. So with the support of Pudding, we can remove the stun. As mentioned at the beginning, Rebecca can remove the special bind with the limit break key. We then have Germa to become our captain, and that way we can get a orb boost as well. And then we can actually use Linlin. Now, Linlin's great because she gives us 4 matching orbs, but she also boosts the attack of Powerhouse and Driven characters. Now, besides Rebecca, this whole team is that. But with the chain lock of Garp, we can actually start the chain with Rebecca, and we have to hit 12 hit counts anyway. And as you can see, Enel just absolutely melts to Enel. So that was the Eneru run. Let's move on to the final challenge now against the Navy. And for the final challenge, we're coming up against the Navy or the Marines, however you want to say it. So this is the team. These are the supports. Let's dive in. So with this particular run, we do have limited rare recruit Perispero on our Linlin. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, Linlin's just a phenomenal sub for Enel. I found that the free-to-play Linlin and the 6+, or the non-6+, I should say, actually on global, Germa 66, they just work phenomenally under Enel. And if you guys have the time, I'd definitely farm up Linlin if you haven't already, as she's going to be really, really great use for Enel teams. But as I was saying, if you guys don't have limited rare recruit Perispero, you can actually use the carrot special twice. You don't have to worry about it too much. I just wanted to sort of add Perispero in here somewhere, just to show that there are ways to get around it with supports. But you can always just use the carrot special to remove the threshold on the third turn against Kobe Helmeppo, I think it is. And then you can use it again on the final stage like I do with my particular run. Again, this is where we see the effects of Enel just be really useful. That 1 damage is actually super cool because it can just kill these units. They have heaps of defense but low HP, so it works really, really well. On stage 3, when we come up against Kobe Helmeppo, they're going to give us that threshold, as I mentioned. So we can remove that with limited rare recruit Perispero, or you can use the carrot special. They also give us 2 turns of hunger and rotate all recovery orbs into block, which is a bit annoying. But with Treasure Map Vivi on this particular team and the support of Flampe, we can actually give ourselves 3 recovery orbs. We can get an attack boost, and we can get an orb boost to our entire crew. And that way we can just easily take this stage out, easy peasy, and move on to the next stage. On stage 4, we come up against Smoker, Tashigi, and Hina. They're going to despair our captains and bind our bottom row. You could run the Corazon support on Law here, remove the Gloom and the Bind, and then actually use the Enel special to remove the rest of the Bind. But the way I decided to do it on this particular run is we do use the Linlin special. Now, Linlin's going to give us some matching orbs as well, which is really nice. And she's going to give us that attack boost after we hit 12 hit counters. Now, with this particular team, only Enel and Linlin are driven, so depending on your orb roll, attack with them those characters last, as they will be hitting a lot harder. But as you can see, with that end of turn damage from Enel, it actually works really, really well. Now, I stalled an extra turn here on Smoker, and that's actually not essential. I was doing some runs, and I was doing too much damage on the ESO stage, and I found that I needed an extra turn on Smoker, but I then later realized that's because my Linlin got blown away, so you don't need to take that turn, but to make it a bit easier, as you can see, Smoker doesn't really do too much, so you can take that shot. You do have the 3 turns of the Linlin special, so you may as well make the most of it, right? On the next stage, we come up against Kizaru. Now, Kizaru has a perfect barrier for 2 perfects, and he makes it harder to actually hit the perfect, so we are going to use our Law special here. Law is going to give us an Orb Boost and a Chain Lock, and even if you are a spoon like myself and miss perfects, as you can see, Law's amount of damage with his Chain Lock and his Orb Boost is just plenty, as Enel is actually a driven and striker unit, so you get the best of both worlds when it comes to Law. On the next turn against ESO, this is where I was having a little bit of trouble because I was doing too much damage. So ESO locks onto himself, and he only lets you attack with 4 units. So we're going to use the specials of Vivi and Enel to actually take him out. But you need to be very careful here. You actually want to attack with an Enel first, ideally the one that has an orb. But the reason you want to attack with Enel first is because that end of turn damage can actually do a lot of damage if you attack with him last, and you'll actually blow away all the chicks in the back. Once we hit the 89 cooldown, we are going to move on, so I'm going to fast forward to there. Alright, so we just hit the 89 turn cooldown, and the chick runs away, and that way we come up against Mr. Akainu, the leader, or the head of the Marines, after Sengoku, obviously. But what Akainu does is he blows away all our positive buffs, and he only lets us use 2 specials, and he also gives us 5 turns of burn. Once again, we're going to use our Linlin special, as we did manage to stall that back, and then we can actually use our Law special. Now, Law is basically going to give us a full board of orbs, provided you have recovery, unfavorable, and whatnot. And then we just want to hit our chain, so that way our driven units, or our powerhouse units, hit very hard at the end. Once we kill Akainu, he is going to have a res mechanic, and he actually blows away all our positive buffs, and then puts up 2 turns of threshold. So we're going to use the carrot special to remove the threshold, and then we can actually use our Enel special for color affinity. With the support of Jinbei, and because we keep the chain lock from Law, we have so much damage here that Mr. Akainu does not stand an absolute chance against the Thunder Kami that is V2 Enel. So that's going to wrap up the Garbs challenges. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure to go in there and belt the like button for me. And if you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lates!